earlier that I have.
Could you? The Facebook post, first of all, that's on me. That was just my way of putting out there for the residents that attended the meeting to know that, hey, we made some progress, something's moving forward. There was no political agenda per se, other than me just wanting the people to know that this was coming up. We told them we'd try to keep up with them as far as the progress. But Am Place, until I put that up there, every weekend, my supervisor on duty for Saturday and Sunday has to give me a written report as to what happened on the Appalachian Trail that weekend. Am Place has never been mentioned. The first time I read it was the very nice comments that the people put on Am Place. And, you know, it may turn out to be a problem somewhere down the road. It's, you know, it certainly could be, but the attorney's logic was that we're doing this based on known issues in Am Place. Until I read that one comment, I was never aware that Am Place. So I'm not against. In fact, my initial recommendation was that we do add it, and I'm still in favor of adding it, but we don't want it to hurt the integrity of the rest of the ordinance. Okay. Because, you know, the other streets are included for specific reasons. Am Place may have an issue, but again, it's never been reported to me.
I think I think the resident there is vigilant about the parking, so that could be a reason why maybe there's not that much of an issue out there. But would this just be a minor change if we were to add it?
It's the council's pleasure if they want to add Am Place or not add Am Place. The only caution I have is, as the chief has indicated, there are no known problems with Am Place at this time. If, however, the governing body feels it's appropriate to add Am Place, they can do so.
Does anyone have any objections to adding Am Place?
Well, if the chief is saying there's no problem there, and that's adding another street, and I know we didn't open this to discussion, so.
Well, you can discuss it.
Okay, well, amongst us, but I'm not sure right now.
Well,
We can make changes on the second ordinance, right?
If you add Am Place at the second reading, it would be a major change to the ordinance, which would require reintroduction.
That would be considered a substantive.
Yeah, that's.
Absolutely, it would be. You're adding another street to a parking district. That's my view.
If we discuss something at the second reading, we can make changes, correct?
you have to reintroduce.
If you make a substantive change,
We would have to
correct.
So you'd have to
Okay.
you'd have to re-advertise it again.
All right.
So, how does the count? Just looking for a consensus. I mean, I'll make a motion to add Am Place. If you choose not to, so be it.
I think it's better to nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem, because it's going to become a problem because people are not going to go for the parking permit. They're going to look for another place to park.
It's just one other street right off of it.
There is no parking permit now. They won't be, no one's going to get a permit, only the people that live on those streets. So
Yeah, but
no
the
one can
tourists,
park on them at all.
But they'll park on Am Place.
Let me,
Well, anyway, I'm just making a motion.
Gonna get it.
Where's their place from the
your
trail?
point is well
It's right
taken.
around the corner. You drive by Am Place, Carroll Drive, Am Place.
That's north of Carroll Drive?
Yeah.
So it's the furthest one down?
Your point is well taken,
Okay,
but
all right, all
I put
right.
myself in a resident's shoes. I look at this and I say to myself, we have to look at this as if we were the residents, because their quality of life is being, is being injured. And yet, we do want to maintain the township as a tourist-friendly place, encouraging people to come. So it becomes a question of priorities, and I think on this particular situation, we need to protect our residents, because they're the ones that pay our taxes. They're the ones that we're here, and we need to look at what they're going through and try and mitigate that problem. But as I look at them also, I question, you're going to have, a particular resident is going to have a party there. They're going to have these permits. And if they only have 10 people who are coming to the party and they get 10 permits, then I guess they're okay. but it's going to be an inconvenience. So I'm wondering, you know, do the residents of Ann Place really want to have this inconvenience of having to have permits to be allowed to park on their own street, or allowed to call their friends and say, drop on over, you know, and then you have to go through the whole hassle of providing the permits. And it's difficult for the police to make that determination when there's not a problem, you know, at the boardwalk. Let's say it's a very rainy or a very snowy day and no one's going there. You still can't park in front of the homes without the permit, because, you know, I don't know if there's that type of selective enforcement, nor should there be. So, you know, I wholeheartedly enforce it, but and am for it, but I just question whether some of the people want to have this and say, you know, are you really getting what you want?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a strong opinion that everybody would say.
Excuse me, you're not being picked up on the microphone, so you'd like him to come up and speak? Are we going to open it to the public? Is that, no, I'm just,
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that the passes, if somebody's having a party and there's a large number of people, I think there's not a problem with anybody getting passes from their neighbors, which is going to increase the amount of people that will be able to park there. And as far as Ann Place goes, I think what you're going to find is, as the days where the traffic backs up on the westbound side of 517, and it gets to a point where there's no more parking there, that's where you're going to find the people moving to Ann Place in order to park. It's just a matter of, you can only go so far, and then you're going to find an alternative to that area.
So you're anticipating a problem.
Yes, my name is Bill Perkins, and I live on Carroll Drive.
and that's what Councilmember Wetzel said, nip it in the bud. It's inevitable it will happen, so, but anyway, I made,
I'll make a second.
It's a question, is society more important, or is the individual more important?
if all the other streets are on it.
All right, I'll make a second to add that.
So this is a roll call to,
Amend the ordinance
Amend
to
the
add
ordinance.
and place to
Add
the
and place.
parking area.
So, Mr. Zelinski, just to clarify, we're going to add and place in the title, and then in section 25.1B as number 8.
Yes. That is correct.
Councilmember Katie?
Since I'm a lessee from the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to abstain.
Councilmember Owens?
This is the vote to add Ann in place then?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
yes. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1707 with a public hearing to be held on May 22nd, 2017?
Council President, could I make one more comment?
Yes.
The only other change that I don't know if it made it to the document in front of you, to make it a little easier on the residents for their own vehicles. Right now, the ordinance reads that the permit to be displayed in the windshield, we were going to come up with a decal system so that they're for their personal vehicles. They wouldn't need to hang something if they happen to park on the street. I don't know if that's a minor enough change that you could make next time, or if it's something that we want to clarify, that just that a permit should be visible, not necessarily the way it's worded now is in the windshield, because certainly if we issued a parking decal, that would not be placed on a windshield.
Good idea.
Are you looking for that?
Yeah, it's, excuse me, it's section 25.1E, which requires the permit to be displayed in the windshield so it can be observed by the police department.
The idea was there would be hangers for the rear view mirror. Some people mentioned, especially on the Vernon Valley Lake side, where they don't have big driveways, it's sometimes family members regularly park, and they might occasionally forget to put it up or take it down to drive, and we might be able to come up with a decal system to where, I mean, first of all, before a ticket's issued, the police officer's going to run the plate, and he's certainly not going to ticket if they're parked in front of their own house anyway, but it would still be nice to have a decal that they don't have to worry about putting up on a daily basis and just save the hanging permits for the special occasions and visitors.
If I could comment briefly, I believe 25E actually contemplates either decal or a hanging
Okay.
type
As long
of
as you
order.
think it's
As long,
covered.
it just needs to be displayed so they could be viewed in the windshield and observed.
Okay, that's great, thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify, Mr. Zelinski, should individual notices be sent out to the property owners? And if so, then should we move the public hearing to June 12th or
Individual notices to the,
affected property owner?
I don't know if it's required. It certainly will not hurt for them to receive that notice.
I think it might be, because of the time of year we're heading into, I think it might be beneficial, and again, the chief could clarify this, whether or not we just have the public hearing in May. And I'm sure that maybe the neighbors will take care of the neighbors to make sure they come.
As will the press, I agree with you.
So leave it at the 22nd of May.
That's fine.
And then, do you want notices sent out? Do you think we should send mail notices
It
anyway?
it doesn't hurt if you can do it. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, so
So I have Councilmember Rizzuto and Councilmember Wetzel previously taking the motion to introduce prior to the motion to add in place.
Yep. Roll call?
And we're going to still continue with May 22nd.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Abstain.
Councilmember Holmes?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Introduce the public hearing on May 22nd.
Next, public hearing, second reading of ordinances. Ordinance 1706, ordinance establishing the salary ordinance for non-union employees. Ordinance 1706 creates part-time positions for clerical staff and zoning. By adopting this measure, this will save the taxpayers of Vernon Township tens of thousands of dollars each year, as not only will the salary be lowered for these employees, but because they are part-time, the township will not have to pay the cost of benefits. May I have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 1706?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have Dan and Dick. All in favor? Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to step up and address ordinance 1706?
Sally Rinker Vernon. I want to thank council members Ohms, Wetzel, and Rizzuto for sending the 2017 budget back to the mayor for cuts. Cuts were made, and our tax increase will be less. With the potential timeline for town center water being no sooner than 2018, the accompanying $3 million bond with the required $150,000
This is-
deposit towards that bond,
This is not the budget.
it's not?
No.
No.
What
This
is
is
it?
the salary ordinance.
So sorry. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Is there anyone that would like to step up and have a comment on the salary ordinance? No. Okay, seeing no one, may I have a motion to close
Motion.
public? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1706? May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Vote.
Councilmember
Vote.
Kadesh?
Yes.
Comment, question. All's well and good to say you're going to save money on part-time employees, Mayor. However, you know, there are some downsides to having part-time employees. I would not say that a downside that a part-time employee works with the same fervor, has the same commitment that a full-time employee does. Hence, we had a number of them leave driving trucks during the winter, whether they chose to because they didn't like it, didn't want to do it anymore, for whatever reason. My feeling is that if you need the person, you might want to rethink this position. Now, if you're going to come back to me and say, Mr. Rizzuto, you know, you're the one that voted down this budget, and I'm trying to save you money, I would only remind you personally that I spoke to you personally and said that the amount of money that I was satisfied for was about $100,000. and that reducing the number of employees that you were looking for was not something that I was in disagreement with. As a matter of fact, I spoke with your business administrator and assured him of my position. Further, I even pointed out that you took out money for the down payment of the water bonding and felt that wasn't necessary when, from this dais, I supported your position. Now, I don't know the reason why, but if you're going to, at some future time, throw that back at me, I just wanted to be very, very clear and have it on the record where I stand on that, okay? Because part-timers are different than floaters. To me, a floater is somebody that learns multitude jobs, and you can put them in there, and at some point, you may make them a permanent in that department. But a part-timer is just that, part-time, and you count on them to show up. Now, if you want to take that chance, hey, I've told you before, you run this township, not me, and I'm not about to micromanage you. I'm simply making my point clear.
Well taken. The prior administration hired part-timers. There was never an ordinance to support it.
Okay.
Also, some of the best administrative employees we have now were hired as part-timers, and they were moved into full-time positions because they worked so hard here. And they were some of the best employees we have.
As were some of the floaters. So there's something to be said. I understand your position, but I want it to be clearly understood where I'm coming from on this.
I understand.
Roll call?
Councilmember Kadesh?
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Ooms?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Councilmember President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 1706.
Next, 2017 municipal budget adoption. Resolution 17-70, adoption of the 2017 municipal budget as amended. May I have a motion to open, I'm just looking at it. May I have a motion to open to the public?
I think we should read the...
Did I miss, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the whole section. Okay.
And that has to be read in
Right.
full.
2017 municipal budget amendment for public hearing adoption. Resolution 17-110, resolution to amend introduced budget. The amending resolution must be read in full at the hearing and before adoption. Ms. Yetter, will you please read the resolution?
Township of Vernon Resolution Number 17-110 to amend introduced budget. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2017 was approved on the 13th day of March 2017, and whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget, now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2017 be made. General revenues. Number 3, miscellaneous revenues. D, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of Director of Local Government Services, shared service agreements, interlocal service agreement, DPW Vernon MUA, from $48,000 to $80,000. Section D, shared service agreements offset with appropriations from $234,650 to $266,650. Number 6, amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget. Local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, from $16,500,295 to $16,238,352. Total amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget from $16,500,295 to $16,238,352. Total general revenues from $24,754,580 to $24,524,637. Current fund appropriations, number 8, general appropriations. A, operations within caps, administrative and executive salary and wages from $158,700 to $153,500. Municipal clerk salaries and wages from $137,430 to $131,780. Other expenses from $58,000 to $53,000. Arts Committee, other expenses from $1,500 to $0. Police salary and wages from $3,579,863 to $539,863. Streets and roads, maintenance, salaries and wages from $1,124,200 to $1,087,200. Fleet management, salaries and wages from $219,000 to $215,000. Maintenance of parks, salaries and wages from $150,000 to $155,000. State uniform, construction code, construction officials, salaries and wages from $392,250 to $381,250. Total operations, item 8A within caps, $15,130,376 to $15,026,026. Total operations, including contingent within caps, from $15,130,376 to $15,026,026. Detail, salaries and wages, from $7,380,286 to $7,282,436. Other expenses, including contingent, from $7,750,090 to $7,743,590. H1, total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps, from $17,054,376 to $16,950,026. A, operations excluded from caps, interlocal service agreements, DPW services, from $48,000 to $80,000. Total shared service agreements from $234,650 to $266,650. Total operations excluded from caps from $1,990,279 to $2,022,279. Detail, salaries and wages from $294,650 to $326,650. C, capital improvements excluded from caps, capital improvement fund, from $265,000 to $116,680. Total capital improvements excluded from caps, from $265,000 to $116,680. H2, total general appropriations for municipal purposes excluded from caps, from $5,247,979 to $5,131,659. O, total general appropriations excluded from caps, from $5,247,979 to $5,131,659. L, subtotal general appropriations, item H1 and O, total, or from $22,302,355 to $22,081,685. M, reserve for uncollected taxes, from $2,452,225 to $2,442,952. 9, total general appropriations from $24,754,580 to $24,524,637. Be it further resolved that this complete amendment, in accordance with provisions of NJSA 40A:4-9, be published in the New Jersey Herald in the issue of April 27, 2017, and that said publication contain notices of public hearing on said amendment to be held at the Vernon Municipal Building on May 8, 2017 at 7:30. Be it further resolved that the 3 certified copies of this resolution be filed forthwith in the office of the Director of the Local Government Services for their certification of the local municipal budget so amended. It is hereby certified that this is a copy of the resolution amending the budget adopted by the governing body on the 24th of April, 2017.
Thank you.
Could you repeat that?
No. May I have a motion to open to the public hearing for Resolution 17-110, amendment to the 2017 budget?
Move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anybody wishing to address the council for this budget, please step up.
Kelly Rinker Vernon. I won't start from the beginning, but I just want to say that the $150,000 deposit towards the bond was an easy reduction. And in the face of a tax hike and using surplus funds, it should not have been in this year's budget, I believe, in the first place. However, I do disagree that no reduction was made in the more than $311,000 set for legal fees. As I said previously, that number is outrageous. It's an increase of $82,000 over in 1 year, which represents a whopping 36% increase for legal fees. I believe that should and could be cut. I especially disagree with foregoing the hiring of replacements in the DPW and the police department, skilled employees who deliver services, while leaving in the budget the hiring of 2 part-time unskilled workers. That, to me, is not good judgment. Statements made at the April 24th meeting saying that hiring, and tonight too, by the way, saying that hiring part-timers will save us tens of thousands of dollars. I say not hiring them will save us tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. I understand 1 part-time person is designated for the clerk's department. And there was a time when we used data and research for making decisions here, and I thought I would supply some of that for you. Currently, we have 2 full-time employees in our clerk's department. Our population is about 24,000. Sparta has 2 full-time employees in their department, population 20,000. Hardiston has 1 full-time employee, their population is 8,000. Rockaway Township has 1 full and 1 part-timer, and their population is 24,000. Whoops. So I would like to know why Vernon needs 3 employees in our department. And if Oprahs are used as a measure, Vernon had 442 in 2016. Rockaway had 593 in 2016, with a part-timer and a full-timer. Okay? So if Vernon wants to reduce Oprah requests, to me it's simple. Increase transparency, because that's free. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Seeing no one else, may I have a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17-110?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Ooms?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Reluctantly, yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt Resolution 17-110.
2017 Municipal Budget Adoption. Resolution 17-70, adoption of the 2017 municipal budget as amended. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17-70, the 2017 municipal budget as amended?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Ooms?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carried to adopt Resolution 1770, the 2017 municipal budget as amended.
Next, we have the presentation of the 2016 audit. Will Mr. Schroeder please come forward? Thank you.
Good evening. As last year, I'm going to let the person who actually did the work do the presentation.
Thank you.
Our principal's Mon Lee, so Mon's here to...
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us here. Just want to start off by thanking the administration and finance and all their staff for all their help and patience during the audit process. I know it's a big disruption to have us coming and asking questions all the time for the couple of weeks that we're here, so thank you so much. I just want to highlight a couple of things in the audit. As of December 31st, 2016, in the current fund, which is your operating fund for the township, as of December 31st, there's approximately $16.5 million in assets, of which includes $4.3 million in cash and cash equivalents, $12 million in various receivable, which is fully offset by reserve, which includes your delinquent taxes, tax title liens, foreclosed properties, etc., and $120,000 in deferred charges for the special emergency authorizations, which I believe is just a tax map that's left. Total liabilities is $14.9 million, which includes the $12 million that's the offset, the reserve for receivable, and the remaining is mostly in unexpended balances in the budget and encumbrances. Fund balance at the end of the year is $1.6 million. Started out the year with $2.1 million. Revenue of $76 million. Expenditures, $75.6 approximately. So the statutory excess that we replenished about fund balance is approximately $590,000. And after the $1.1 million of fund balance that's utilized in the 16 budget, you have an approximately $510,000 decrease in your fund balance from 15 to 16. The township, the statutory debt, net debt, is approximately $30 million, which is 1.261% of the equalized valuation basis. You're allowed to borrow up to $83 million, and after the net debt, your remaining borrowing power is about approximately $53 million. Within the notes to the financial statement, we usually have a chart in there that has a kind of a historical trend as to the collection of taxes for the past 3 years, which has remained leveled, except just a slight decrease in 2016. And also, I just want to highlight the amount, the activities you have in the unemployment trust, which is partly funded from the town and from also employee contributions. And there was a slight increase in unemployment claims during 2016. So the balance went from $51,000 down to $32,000. I know in the 17 budget, the town has about approximately $10,000 in the budget to fund unemployment trust. And now, last but not least, the recommendations in the report. There are 3. The first one is the segregation of duties, which we have in the report every year, and we have in the majority of our audit reports, just because not a lot of towns have the resources to hire, for example, a central cashier to collect all the money. So this is something that will probably just stay in the report unless you decide to change your personnel. The second recommendation has to do with the transition from one tax software to another, and the tax adjustments that were made by the new software, and that inadvertently created some underbilling, which finance is aware, tax collector is aware of, and I think they have already taken steps to correct that. And then the other part is making sure that the tax lien receivables tie in, and this also resulted from the conversion to the new software. And the last recommendation is just making sure that any grant amendments are formally approved by the grantor as required by the grantor, and also by the governing body as a best practice. Is there any questions?
In your index, or table of contents, you have listed statement of expenditures, assessment trust fund, or fund rather, B3, but it's not in the document.
B3. It's kind of in the middle of the page. I can point like a fourth of the way through. So you have all your A schedules.
Yeah.
And then it starts with B1 of 2,
Right.
B2 of 2, B1 and B2 and B3? You don't see that in your
No.
version?
Next page is general capital fund.
Okay, I apologize for that. I probably, with the processing.
B2 and B3 are on the same page.
Your pagination is fairly unique.
Oh, I thought you meant like B2 and B3 are both missing. Okay.
Thank you for that. Bill?
Question. So our total debt at this present time is 30 million?
Yes.
How much debt did we pay off in the last year?
Paid off $1.6 million in serial bonds and $247,000 in bond anticipation notes.
So we had $30 million debt, and we paid off.
That's after paying off those amounts. You have $30 million left.
And I have another question. Is there a state statute that limits the amount of bonding?
Yes,
the amount
it's-
of a bond?
Not
There
the
are six-
amount of your bond ordinance limit the amount of the bond that you wish to issue, but in terms of your borrowing power, it would be
No, I'm joking.
I think you said 83 million.
$83 million.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yes, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Zelinski. But is there a statute that supports the amount a municipality can bond in a single bond?
I don't believe so.
No?
You could go up to, if you had your whole debt capacity of 83 million, you could issue one bond for 83 million.
Okay, that was my question. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Funding, put everything together and make one.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make one point, just because I can't help myself. Your financial administration is to be commended. I've been doing this for too long, I don't want to make this about me, but you don't have a point of reference. We do. Your financial administration for the process and the records they produce, we have very limited audit adjustments. This year, with the change in the tax system, was unusual that you're in the top 25% of the financial administrations that we deal with from our end of things. So I just wanted to give that kudo to them, that they're doing a very good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
We pay our bills. We pay our bills.
Next, we'll move on to the council comments. Councilmember Kadesh?
Do we have to sign the budget? Okay. No comment.
Councilmember Ohms?
Yeah, just a quick question. The trees, it looks like as recent, those trees around the recycling, looks like they're not going to live, like they died over the winter. They're all brown. What's going to happen?
We're responsible for replacing them.
Okay, so you're going to replace them?
We're going to have to. They weren't, as was pointed out to us when we hired the forester, they weren't, and other people that we had in between, that they weren't properly planted to begin with and had little chance to make it through was it 3 years of it? Yeah.
So are you going to replace them with the same or at all, or different species, or what? I'm just curious.
Well, I think, like I said, it was a combination that perhaps the right trees were not matched to the soil, and they were planted too close together. So they were competing. As the one forester explained to me, as soon as you plant two trees within close proximity, it's a battle of who's going to kill the other. And that's unfortunately what has happened there. Not that every tree is going to die that's next to another one, but the competition for the elements that they need to survive becomes greater.
So when will they be replacing them?
We haven't discussed that with our forester yet, but it will be sometime, probably in the fall.
Oh, in the fall?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to
Also-
see that statement in action, you come over to my house and see a walnut tree that's killed off 2 pine trees. Also, they've killed off cedar trees. Amazing battle that goes on, very slow pace.
Also, I noticed around the garden, those trees are, something's funky going on with them. So I don't know if anybody took a look at those.
We can ask our DPW. I mean, I'm not an expert on trees, but essentially the trees were planted too close, they were over-mulched and over-watered. You're not supposed to put the mulch up on the trunks, and that was done.
Yeah.
And that's partly the reason why the trees are dying. They were over-mulched.
Put them up too high.
Anything else? Councilmember Rizzuto?
Question. Last meeting, I was unable to be here, but I did attend by telephonically. Mr. Voter, I asked about somebody asked about the Faline building and why the delay or what was happening with the proposal for an assessment of it. I couldn't very well hear the comments and talk about having problems, and rather than make you sit by the phone and scream it, I just thought I'd wait until this meeting. Perhaps you could refresh my.
What I said that night is that when the mayor and I met with the assessor and inspected the building with him,
When was that?
I would say roughly...
10 days, 14 days ago,
Yeah.
2 weeks?
About 2 weeks. He toured the entire building and obviously asked questions about, the general condition of the area and what was available in terms of infrastructure. What he then told us was that he felt that the township would probably be able to obtain more money if in fact we considered, and he was just going to try to do a breakdown of those costs for us and what we might obtain on the market if we were to improve it, number one, by raising the building and marketing it more as a footprint for some other businesses that would fit on that footprint.
About 3 meetings ago, I asked the mayor, where we stood. I think, as a matter of fact, I didn't ask. The question was raised from the case, and you said you were having a problem with the appraiser and the appraisal. And I wasn't quite sure what you said, and I said, did you say appraiser or appraisal? And you said both. And at that time, that was long before, 14 days ago. So what happened to the appraiser and the appraisal from that particular point?
He didn't understand that there was no water or sewer there. It's not hooked up to the sewer, and there's no water, even though there's a cap on the ground with water, because the water pipes are there, but there's no water. And he did not go into the building.
But that meeting was, I believe, following March 27th, when you made that statement. And as of March 27th, according to one of the members of the audience, no purchase order had been issued. So how could he have done it?
I'm speaking on the phone with him, and then he did do it. The council directed it.
Well, I don't know. I'm still waiting for a formal report on the cost of the band shell, which was requested last year, and that hasn't come. So, I'm wondering, I just wanted to know exactly what was happening here. Are we going to get a formal presentation or a formal report from the appraiser as to what the property would appraise for with water and sewer and without water and sewer?
That'll have to be discussed in the next executive committee, because I got a report from him today. And I also have 2 other inquiries to purchase the building as it is I'm not going to discuss it in public because it's going to be negotiated.
That's understandable. But, we had an executive session this evening, I mean, that wasn't mentioned then either. So,
Didn't have time to bring it up, and I don't even know if it was on the agenda.
So
Okay.
when can we expect the appraisal?
I received, it's lengthy as far as the process. I received his original opinion today after we brought him over there, and his plan, and he wants to go forward with other plans, which I would have to have a resolution with the council, but I want to discuss it in executive because it's negotiating points.
Can we see then the appraisal that you did receive?
Yeah, I have no problem giving it to you, but I only got it this afternoon.
Okay, maybe you could send it so we could just see what the price is on it, especially if you're saying other people are looking at it. I'd like to see what that is.
No problem.
Okay.
Anything else, Councilman? Councilmember Wetzel?
Yeah, what effect, if any, with West Milford pulling out of the Gypsy Moth program, what effect does that have on us, if any?
The only effect you can have, they can
What was
travel.
that? I'm sorry, what did Mr. Volker say?
I said, we hope they go south.
That was good.
Now, did they give any reason for not?
No,
That we're stuck with the, yeah.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't aware. West Milford was going to spray and they didn't now, or?
They don't want to be involved in the program, right? They don't want to.
I don't know. I haven't had any discussion with them. I'm just trying to prevent gypsy moths here.
Yeah.
What other municipalities do is their business.
Yeah, because if they did, that's important, isn't it? That it would affect
Yeah.
what we did?
Well,
Possibly.
Warwick, New York's not treating either. They didn't last year either.
Oh, they didn't do it.
Wow.
Anything else?
No,
Speak
that's
to the
enough.
gentleman from the DEP that's involved with it. We'll ask, see if he can tell us that.
On April 30th, I attended Earth Fest with a couple members of the Beautification Committee, and we were able to freshen up one of the Welcome to Vernon signs, which the DPW now has, and that's the one that will replace the sign on Route 515. So actually, at least this year, we should have adequate signage throughout the town. Also, they will also be taking a look at, the DPW will take a look at the signs. Actually, I'll let them know about the sign on Canisteer. I think that was made by the Boy Scouts possibly years ago, and maybe the one on Barrett, just to see what they look like, because depending on that, we may want them to replace it with some of the metal signs that were made. And also on Veterans Park, I think you may have received an email from one of the co-chairs on the condition of Veterans Park. I mean, we're going to try to work on the sign. Like I said, Scott at the DPW is working on it. But the grounds themselves there really need attention. The chair, a couple of the committee members went there to take a look at it and decided their opinion was that it was not even a project that the beautification committee should tackle because it was just too far gone. So just to give a little update, but I think you may have received some information from them. The other things I wanted to mention is that I think we've heard that Sparta has been attempting to pull out their health department out of Sussex County. And in an attempt, I guess Sussex County was trying to roll the health tax into the general budget. So that would eliminate the possibility of Sparta being able to do that without then charging their residents extra. I did question, and I'm not sure if you've received a call, but I did question the fact that we, Vernon Township, are paying for employees. As it turns out, we're paying for one employee that retired. We sent 3 employees to the county health department. The other 2 are still working, so I guess the agreement shows that if the next 2 retire within 15 years, Vernon Township would have to carry those health benefits. So I did question the freeholders because if they're going to, in fact, roll that health tax into the general budget, Does that dissolve our shared service agreement? If it does, why should Vernon Township pick up the cost for those health benefits? So it's just something I wanted to bring up, because if those employees work 15 years, then the county would automatically pick them up. But like I said, it's something on our plate right now. And other than that, that's all I have.
I have one question.
Yep.
The Mayor, is it possible, Mayor, to recite those two porta-johns on 517? Either that or put some type of,
I have the
You know,
answer to that.
covering or disguise around them. It looks terrible. I mean, I
Councilmember?
understand that we're looking at a temporary situation, but in combination with the barrels, orange and white, the cones, orange and white, the temporary signs, and then you walk up there with, you see, the first thing you see is two, porta potties. I've had comments from people who live there, and they say, it's bad enough. The idea of being able to look out over that nice meadow is one thing. Now to look out over that nice, wetlands area, it's not really what you'd like to see. I understand you're acting in a situation that requires an action, and then I appreciate that. Who wants to have those people finding some other place to tend to their bodily needs? But, is there any way that you can possibly put some type of more appropriate covering around that, or recite them?
We're going to recite them. We'll talk to them about it because the DEP is paying for those.
Excuse me, Chuck, at that one meeting, actually, one of the representatives, he said that the porta-johns were not supposed to be there, that when they delivered them, they were supposed to notify them, and they were going to meet them and place them in the lower position. And what happened is they dropped them off and didn't call anybody. So they do plan on actually dropping them down lower.
Okay.
So. Motion to adjourn?
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Second. All in favor? Aye, okay.